Hello, so welcome to what was supposed to be the final episode of the Loki wrap-up recap show. I'm Dan the Fan, or Dan Tabor. I write on Falker, Synapse.co, and I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, and today I'm joined by Yali.
Yay, your favorite hater is back.
We might have something in common this episode. So
I'm pretty sure we do. I am the content curator and social media manager here at Fandom Spotlite. So I provide you the memes that you enjoy every Monday. And this one was very appropriate for our panel today. And,
I saw that.
Yes, see? Coronation. I also write for Big Anime, which I'm legally not allowed to talk about. And I do some writing over at Renegade Media. And yeah, I'm just writing all over the damn place. If it looks weird and kooky, I probably wrote it. So I'm glad to be here. And let's talk Loki.
Hey, it's me, Rachel, back again. Super excited to talk about Loki. I'm a writer here at Fandom Spotlite. I also write on my book blog. I like to chat about anime, fandoms, pop culture, just different random things. And I'm excited to share my thoughts with you all.
She looks scared.
Who's next, Mitch or myself?
Fight!
Mitch,
Actually,
go for it.
It's really great that we both of you guys here today too. So Mitch.
All right, I will take that. I am Mitch Hallock. I am an occasional writer here in Fandom Spotlight when I'm not busy running conventions. That's what I do most of the time. I'm also on YouTube. I'm also on podcasts. I'm on the radio. I got a lot of free time on my hands, but I'm here today to talk about episode 6 of Loki, the finale.
Love it.
That's it.
Love it. I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics, self-publishing comic book writer for Vantage and House Productions, creator of You Create Comics, one of the co-hosts of Black, White, and Red All Over. And this is like my third time being on this show, and I have enjoyed all of the conversations with you guys. So let's get into this finale because stuff. All the stuff.
Yeah, a lot happened in this episode because this episode was episode 6, as Mitch mentioned, and the title was For All Time Always, which just happens to be the motto of the TVA. And this picks up immediately after the last episode where Loki and Sylvie go into this mysterious looking house and, they meet He Who Remains, which is essentially like, and they have this really creepy, what did people think of that jump scare of missed minutes? I don't trust that.
Scared the shit out of me. I watched that 3 in my room with all the lights off, and all of a sudden she pops the fuck up, and I throw my phone up in the air. I'm like, what the fuck? And then my kid runs in my room, like, what's happening? I was like, no, I'm just watching TV.
What's happening? It's missed minutes.
It was terrifying, and now I don't trust her.
Loki should have swatted her when he had the chance.
That's right. He tried.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. Yes, indeed. Okay, so before we get into that part, I gotta throw in something at the very, very beginning that just made me moist. Okay, so at the beginning when they had the opening the opening sequence, did we or did we not see the potential beginnings of Galactus? Did we see this? Yes, you guys, because that's what I think it is. When we saw the initial universe and the ship that we see fly out and then everything gets destroyed, there's a new universe.
I think they were trying to figure that out on the internet. They were trying to actually identify the ship because we haven't seen the ship before, apparently. So this was a new ship, so we see that. So totally possible. And I'm with you with Galactus. I think Galactus is the next big bad. I think Kang's a good sort of like Eternals are a good sort of jumping point to that. He might be the ultimate Thanos of this. Maybe in like 5 or 6 years, kind of lead up to him like they did with the phase like 2, 3, and 4. Their ramp up, they might do that. So that's what I'm kind of with you on that.
Yes, that would make me so happy. But I haven't seen like too many people talk about that, and so I was like, "Am I the weird one? Did I just notice that thing and the sequence of events? Is that me?" So I'm glad that my squad here, you hold me down. I like that.
Well, we got a comment from storyteller Mike who said that Miss Mint scared him, and he said this show blew my mind. Also, anyone else watch Avengers Assemble or Earth's Mightiest Heroes and knew with certainty that he who remains is Kang when he told his backstory. It's one of those things where, did anybody else notice he didn't say the name? Did anybody think that was weird? Because like I was still like, is it really? Are we like sold on this? Because like he even says, I've been a conqueror. I mean, we might as well get into that. They go in and they meet He Who Remains, which is Marvel does this thing with the MCU where they like mash up two characters and they become this amalgam. And I kind of like that. I always use this example, Hela, goddess of death, plus Hela. They put them together, they got Hela. And I think this is a smart thing because it kind of makes it a little easier for normal people to pick some of these characters up. But what did people think of this? Because that one character is the character that started the TVA, and Kang is the character that kind of, does that whole thing that he goes through that very huge chunk of exposition to elaborate his backstory. I mean, let's just start with the baseline. What did everybody think of the episode? And what did everybody think that he didn't say his name? Yali, you're first. There's a lot to dig in here.
As far as how I felt about the episode, I was like, oh, they missed the boat. They could have did so much better with what they had. They missed it. Second of all, when I was watching it, I was like, oh, Victor was right, because it's definitely a Mortis and not necessarily Kang, or like a combination of the two of them. Too. It was or two of them. So I was like, oh, Victor was right. It wasn't Mortis.
So it could be three.
It could be anything at this point. The episode was fine. It wasn't as like a good of a finale as like WandaVision was, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like that had a bigger finale moment. I think that what made it big was that the consequences of the actions at the very last couple of minutes. But overall, I was just like, this is not, why we're talking so much. And like, Jonathan Majors is cute, but like, he's doing a lot of this. And it's just, I want Miss Minutes to come up and be like, wrap it up. We're running out of time. I need you to speed this up. But I was like, oh, it is definitely He Who Remains. I know that as a Mortis. And I was like, oh, so this is a Mortis. And then I guess their version of it is like, he's a variant of Kang. I was like, that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? And also with the whole Galactus thing, is like, oh, that works too. I thought the ship might have been the Ravengers, because from Guardians of the Galaxy, it looks similar. It's hard to zoom in on your phone and tell for sure. But I thought it was the Ravengers. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But overall, I just thought like the episode was just I think they needed like 8 episodes. I just feel like they needed, or one more episode, make it 7 because it's zany or something like that. You know what I mean? They needed more, but I just want to congratulate Victor for being absolutely right. Because as soon as it happened, I said, oh my God, he nailed it. He nailed it.
Mitch is being super patient. What did you think of the episode?
I was beginning to watch that, and as soon as I saw the outfit and I saw the little yellow thing, oh, look, that's Kang. He's got the outfit from the comics. But then I started watching, I go, there's no way in hell this is Kang. I said, this is like the Riddler. This is like Jim Carrey.
That performance
from Batman, what was it? Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Annoying. Within like minutes, I was like, oh, please God, shut up. I mean,
I found that terrifying.
Oh, but then again, I'm like, there's no way this guy made all this stuff too. I'm like, maybe he escaped and he was like the clown version of Kang that got out of there, because there's no way he put that together, all that stuff. And the only thing I could think of is those robots that fell apart, those lame ass robots a couple weeks ago. The wires were hanging out. I'm
the
like,
Tigger robots.
Yeah, I was like, this is the best you can come up with. And I'm like, this guy didn't even make that stuff. He's just been like crazy. He's just been sitting up there waiting for somebody to come and get him.
See, I took that as he went stir crazy because he's been there so long.
That's what I was thinking. He just lost his mind, and he's been lurking around that empty haunted house waiting for somebody to come and to take him out. So yeah, there's no way that's the evil mastermind of Kang. That's the destroyer of everything.
See,
crazy guy.
But he ate an apple, and all bad guys eat apples.
But, I mean, that's the whole Adam and Eve thing, because like the fruit of knowledge, and that kind of gives him that, because he's basically explained to them how everything works while he's eating the apple, and he's kind of offering Adam and Eve, Sylvie and Loki, the forbidden fruit. And I thought that was kind of an interesting sort of metaphor. I thought the performance was pretty amazing. And I thought the fact that, you know, he was really playing Sylvie really hard, and Loki was kind of realizing that. I thought the performance was over the top, but I thought it was equally terrifying, because you saw how like Tom Hiddleston was like pissing himself while this guy was going on this rant. Like you could see like him turn white as a sheet watching this dude like freak out at him, because he's just like, this guy scares me.
Yeah.
It's a bag of cats crazy. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Rachel, what about you?
I like this episode. Like I said, not my favorite, but I think it did what it needed to do as a series finale, like enough to propel the viewer to like, okay, I want to see what happens for season 2. Like Yali said, I definitely think more episodes are probably needed for the first one, just because there was like a lot thrown at us for the first couple, and then it like rushed through it. They're like the second half. But I mean, I think it was climactic in the last, like, I would say last like 15 minutes or so of it. More of it was like exposition and storytelling, and in slower paced, where I wanted kind of some of the action from the previous 2 episodes to be meshed with that. And we only got that in the last like 10 minutes or so. And then, you know, when everything went to hell pretty much, and started everything up all over again.
Oh, that's awesome. I definitely liked it as well. Although, thank you, Yali, for giving me my roses for my prediction. I do have to admit, I do think that I was sort of right, not exactly right. I don't think that this is Immortus either, even though his outfit is more of what Immortus wears. I think, again, with the amalgam, you know, setup of this, because He Who Remains is actually a version of Mobius, if I'm not mistaken, in the comics. So to make it a version of this Kang type character is an interesting one. But I think we haven't seen Immortus as the character is going to be. We haven't seen Kang as the character is going to be. This is just one iteration. And the whole point of it was to set up this big to-do of this next big bad. And I think the way that they did it was really wise, because this whole time we've had this fear of Thanos, and we've had this proof of the fear of Thanos. How do we effectively create a new bad guy, not to Dragon Ball Z it, but all of a sudden you go, oh wait, no, here's the greatest, challenger in the universe. You have this guy that's like, listen, I've been here this entire time keeping this at bay. You guys don't even know what you're about to see right now. And I loved this episode. I thought Jonathan Majors was kooky in the greatest of ways. The exposition was important. And the biggest thing, to Yali's point, the reason why I don't think that these had as good of, or it didn't have as good of a finale point as WandaVision and Winter Soldier, is they're coming back.
Yeah, did anybody else feel cheated by that a little bit? Because like we all thought this was the end, and then we get like the to be continued tag at the end, and you're kind of like, do you feel like either did they write themselves in a corner halfway through the season, or was this the plan from the get-go? Because I'm writing off all the crap that Marvel says this is their best show ever. They had to have this in the bag like years ago. So what does everybody think about this? What do you think about this, Mitch? Do you think this was the way it was going to be, or do you think they just pulled it out their ass?
No. There was too much going on to wrap this up in one episode, because I kept looking at the clock and going, how much time's left? I actually paused it at one point to see there was like 15, 20 minutes. I go, they're not going to wrap this up. And so I knew it was going to be a cliffhanger going in, because I'm like, you're running out of time here. What are you going to do? And then next thing you know, kablooey, we'll see you next time. Who are you? And they're just like, well, but here's the thing. Have they even announced when the season 2 is going to be?
No.
That's what drove me.
As early as 2020, as early as 2022. So
okay, because the first thing I did was look on IMDb, like, when is this next production starting? Because I don't want to wait until after Ant-Man, which is 2023,
right?
Which is where Kang is in. I'm like, they're not going to do that to us, but you never know. But no, I had a feeling this was not going to be wrapped up in 6 shows. Like in episode 4, it looked too big. You know, this is getting way out of hand. So
this gives me such like hope for what this next phase is going to be, because our understanding was that from WandaVision, you know, the cleanup of WandaVision was going to be in the Multiverse of Madness, but we clearly know that there's something more looming beyond that won't even be touched until Kang makes his official appearance in Quantumania. And the idea of what that could mean is just nuts to me. Like, I think in Doctor Strange, we're going to see like Rama Tut. We're going to see
so much cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's so much. But I think we're going to see like all these different iterations and aspects of Kang, like doing things. And, you know, only those people that have really paid attention to what Loki brought will understand what this means. Like, there'll be these perfect hints. And I can't.
This was the one that won out, because the way the show explained it is like there were multiple Kangs. Eventually, this guy came in, took over, made the sacred timeline, and that's why the TVA existed, is to keep this whole thing running. And he offered the TVA to Loki and Sylvie, which, you know, I kind of figured that he was playing the whole time, but like you had Miss Minutes in the beginning offer to make Loki the winner of the Battle of New York and give him the Infinity Gauntlet. And the fact that he didn't pick that and Sylvie still didn't trust him, like I mean, I knew that Sylvie was going to make the wrong choice because of Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man coming out. Like, we knew the multiverse was coming, so we knew what she was going to do. But I mean, what did everybody else think of these choices and how they presented them? I mean, I think Loki basically proves himself that he's on the straight and narrow, I think, personally. How about Victor, what do you think? Do you think our Loki is now on the straight and narrow? Because I think he is, at least this one.
Yeah, I was going to say he's a version of the straight and narrow. If I can be honest, the part where Miss Minutes was offering things to him, I bristled when she offered him the Infinity Gauntlet, because I don't feel like that's something that he should recognize what it is. Because it goes back to my biggest complaint about the Infinity Saga is that clearly in Avengers, the first Avengers movie, they did not know that the two Infinity Stones that they were going to, you know, call Infinity Stones, the Tesseract and the Scepter, they didn't know that those were Infinity Stones. Because if that was the case, Loki definitely had two of them before the words Avengers hit the screen. So if he was ever going to want the Infinity Gauntlet, it would have been at that time period, because he knew what that was. So he
watched the movies. Remember, he was in the room by himself. He
did watch eventually what it
Disney
was.
Plus. They had Disney Plus.
Yeah. You know, it's important. It's important. But that's the thing, is like, you wanted this thing, but you now recognize, like, at the same time, it has a limitation. Your Infinity Gauntlet would only affect things in this timeline, because, you know, beyond that, you know, he who remains, you know, without knowing exactly who that was, has greater power than that. So you're still a peon, sir. You are still a peon.
You know, I think this Loki is on the straight and narrow. I think because the fans want him to be. I don't think that would have been Marvel's first choice.
I think Love turned him into the straight and narrow. I think Love did. I think we got
the power of love
is
just so it does everything. It does. Well, it didn't do anything for Wanda, so let's be honest.
I mean, it did everything for her. Come on.
No, it didn't do shit for Wanda. She was miserable, and she took over a whole town to deal with her fucking grief.
But she was happy when she took it over. Doesn't that count?
No, it's a
no.
I don't believe that they knew they were doing a season 2. I think because the way the show was so unclear of who the audience was and who they were talking to, is like there were so many times where the show itself felt unsure, you know. So I don't think that they realistically thought that they could do, you know, they were having a second season no matter what, because the first episode was like one type of show, the second one was another type of show, and then, you know, some people thought it was going to be like an action-packed thing, or it's going to be a total comedy, or you know, it just never landed.
I can't watch some trailers. This trailers will tell you the Earth and the Moon.
So it's like, I felt like as it kind of became more of a drama, like towards like the later half of the season, it's like, all right, this is more dramatic, this is more mysterious, and a whodunit type of situation. So I don't know if they initially went into it knowing that they would get a second season. I think maybe, like I said, during the creating of the script, and they're realizing we can't do all of it in a first season. And, and I felt like a lot of people felt like there was just a lot of loose threads. And I think a lot of that was not really intentional. I think they didn't know what was going on. So, I mean, I think that having a second season kind of defeats the purpose if Loki's going to be in, this Doctor Strange movie, and, Wanda's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie, and Doctor Strange is going to be in the Spider-Man movie. Like, all of that cleanup would be done. What we need Loki for, because it didn't seem like he was planning.
Yeah, I saw a really good fan poster where it was like they added Wanda and Loki to the Doctor Strange poster, which I thought was cool.
It's like, I mean, what would Loki realistically be doing? Because wouldn't it be now the Avengers' job to handle what the hell is going on, or or the Eternals hanging out with the Avengers? Like, that's their main goal. So what would Loki need to do with a show like aftermath of it? You know what I mean? Like, so now everything is fixed, and now we need someone to keep in control of the times, and now you're the TVA because you were in it.
I don't think they're putting that genie back in the bottle. I think this is what Marvel wanted. So
yeah, well, I was gonna say, I overheard an argument at a comic book store. Imagine such a thing. But they were saying, somebody said a pretty ingenious thing. They said, you know what? By him unraveling the entire timeline, you know how the show started off, and you had all the audio clips of Captain America.
Yeah,
and you were listening to everything, and then they showed you all the branches. They said they really could wipe the slate clean from the last 12 years of Marvel movies now, and because the actors are older, there's older Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans is gone. They could really start it again,
just like the comics.
Just like the comics, just like when they would do a rebirth and all that, and you would go, okay, there's a new Captain America. This time we're going to do more World War II stories. He's going to be with the invaders. He's going to be with Namor and the Human Torch during World War II. We didn't get a chance to do that last time, and now you've not pigeonholed yourself into that timeline. Because with this Loki show, you've said, hey, guess what? You thought you knew what Thor was. You thought you knew what the Hulk was. And all the shows, we don't have to follow that anymore because, one, we've got expensive actors who are getting older by the second. Now we can get younger folks that you don't know and pay them a lot less money. And two, we could just change everything you already know because it's a whole new ballpark, And I'm like, that is not a bad idea. And thinking about it in the long run, if this is Disney and they want to mine this for another 10 or 15 years, you're not going to have Robert Downey Jr. in his 70s playing Iron Man, or Chris Evans in his...
There's going to be Marvel movies, and there's going to be Star Wars movies long after
Exactly. So it's like the same thing. It's like you got to wipe out the old guard like they did with Star Wars that killed off Han Solo and Luke and Leia, and now you've got the new crop. Same thing here. You don't have to do it a big budget picture. You could do it on TV for a lot less money. And then you say, okay, well, this is where we're going now. Because think about it. We haven't seen any movies before Black Widow just a week ago. And we already had 3 different Marvel shows that already set this tone for this new direction the shows are going to. In the movie, they didn't spend, I don't know how much Loki's budget was, but it could not be that much money because they were using that, what do they call it, the volume or whatever, the stage. So I don't know. It was into $200 million. No, this must have cost what, 60, maybe 70. I don't know how much, but
they're getting it all back in Croaky merchandise. So they don't
they're getting it back in Funko Pops and all this.
Crocs hasn't announced a collab yet, so that's the biggest missed opportunity right there. So.
Crocs and lacrosse, they should have been all over this.
Storyteller Miller from the chat says, "Yep, they could start again, or they're going to add the X-Men." That's kind of that's like this whole end game because Kevin Feige's been all about like Wolverine and bringing him in here since he took the reins of this thing. But I mean, fans have got to be excited for this because it's just going to get crazier from here. But Rachel, what did you think? You've been quiet.
No, I was letting everybody say their piece. I mean, I think I agree with everything in the Marvel has gone through so much changes over the years, even from when I first started watching, like when they did like Spider-Man in the 2000s, and now we have Tom Holland. There's always like that sense of like reboot, and we got to get new, fresh faces, and they're always going in a new direction and taking stuff from the comics. It's just,
this lets them make that canon, so that way it's all part of the multiverse.
It's just how movies and cinema and different forms of media work now. Is that everything has just got to be freshened up because people leave. People want to do other stuff. They want new faces.
They want Oscars.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think for this show,
Birds of Prey won an Oscar.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. No, I think for this show, I think they were trying to show, like we were talking about in earlier panels, about like a redemption kind of arc for Loki, and trying to show the redemption of Loki, because we're getting like how they're kind of trending, getting a villain backstory, and like, oh, the villain is actually like a very tortured soul, which we learn through like different characters in this show, and how everybody's kind of a victim of something that turns them into a villain, and they're trying to redeem themselves and all that going on. So, I mean, I think from the get-go, they were trying to test the waters to see how Loki would turn out. But I think probably midway through, they were like, okay, this is catching on, so we got to do a season 2, because there's just way too much exposition happening, especially in those first couple episodes. It was a lot to take in. Like, it was a lot happening. I'm like, I don't even know if I got all of that. And I still don't think I got all of that, even after season 1 ended. So you have to add more. I mean, I think they would have benefited from a couple more episodes, to tell the truth. That probably would have helped a lot. That way you're not trying to cram all this backstory, because it's appealing to people that already know the stuff, but it's also trying to appeal to people that just like Loki and like want to get into Marvel. And to do that, you need to be a lot clearer, because everybody's not seen or like read everything. So you gotta grab your audience from all different directions, because Marvel is something that appeals to not only the fans of it, but people that just like superhero stories and all that kind of content too.
Rachel, you mentioned my favorite thematic thing in Loki, religious trauma. Let's go to our favorite. We let's touch on Renslayer and the pen reveal here. Yes. What happened to Renslayer? Like, what do we think Miss Minutes gave Renslayer when she ran off? And that whole thing was like, did you give me the stuff? And she's like, he thinks you'll want this. So I think what she gave her was possibly coordinates to another Kang, so we can get the Kang Renslayer team up. What does everybody else think? First, what does everybody think of the reveal? Like how that came out? Because that was a pretty good reveal. So I almost think that she's visited herself at one point in time, because she has to know that she's a variant. And what do we think she got from Miss Minutes? That little lying piece of.
She's the devil. She's the devil. I thought the reveal was really cool. It fit her. That reveal really fit herself, like her character.
She was a teacher.
You know, like that made sense to me. I have a couple ideas of what I think was given to her. I think either it was a location to a Kang, or a location to all the Lokis, since she feels like Loki's ruined everything, you know, like she's not a fan of Loki's, let's be honest. So like, maybe it's like, you can go kill all the Lokis.
You don't think that she's kind of like flipped sides, and like she's kind of upset that like
no, she's mad,
she believed in
she's
was
mad
wrong?
At all Lokis are ruining everything. Her life was totally fine before the Loki showed up and ruined all of that stuff. Or we're gonna get like a version of the movie The One, and she has to kill all the versions of herself so she can be the most powerful Renslayer there is. Like kind of like what this Kang or Mortis had to do. It's like he's the final one, and so that makes him the most powerful. So maybe in order for her to feel like she can have some power, she's got to go kill all her versions of herself, and then come back as like the version comics, which is powerful and on Kang's side, and it has a lot to contribute. So those are my 3 ideas. You know, either way, I'd be happy with any of those. I think her character was not used enough. Because she really held her own, considering that she was supposed to seem like this disgruntled boss at an office.
She whipped Mobius's ass big time.
So yeah,
I told him, how you gonna tell me that you gonna kick the crap out of me and then do it? That's disrespectful.
It's polite to let him know ahead of time. She was being polite.
No. She was being definitive. That did happen.
Ahead of time. This was going to go down. So those are my ideas. I think any of those 3 would be cool. And I'm glad she got like a really good moment for herself when her character wasn't really around for a lot of the juice of the show. So, shout out to Renslayer.
Mitch is scratching his chin real hard. What do you have over
more
there
confusing. I thought I had it figured out, but now I'm like, wait a minute, that's a whole other thing I didn't think of before. Because I still have a theory that Mobius is really Loki. And that was just thrown in there. And then He Who Remains, if his only desire was to get killed because he couldn't see what was going to happen any farther, why would you set up such an elaborate gauntlet for people to get in there just to kill you? That still didn't make sense to me. But no, there's a lot going on here. And you thought they could have wrapped this up in 6 episodes? For goodness sakes, I'm sitting here now. I got a whole new show. I got 6 more episodes in my head now trying to figure out.
I think they're going to have to do at least like a good 12 or 24.
No, not that long.
No, that's too much. That's much.
Don't do that.
They could have did it. They could have did it in like 10.
They could do just a bottle office episode with Loki hanging out the TVA, just like who took his pencil or something dumb like that. I would like to see that episode.
That is fun.
I was like,
who took Loki's lunch?
Who enjoyed the memes of the TVA being a Black-owned business? Because those killed me. That was the funniest thing I saw on the internet.
Amazing.
It's like, well, now we got to support because it's a Black-owned business.
Cover, that was top tier for me.
That's good. That's good. That was good.
I absolutely love those.
Yeah. So as the resident Ohioan,
everything's Ohio.
That reveal. I mean, I'm just saying, we're the heart of it all, people. You know what I'm saying? No, the shout out to Ohio, going even deeper, being from Columbus, home of the Ohio State University. Let's go Bucks. That moment was fantastic. Because it was just like, yes, this is really cool. Where I think Renslayer went is, I think Yali is definitely right that there is some association to Kang. I don't think that Renslayer knew all of the parts and pieces. I think she was in fact in the dark, but what they were giving her, definitely. What they were giving her was, hey, listen, you were told the truth and you stayed the course. We're gonna give you something else. Because the whole thing is really for the disruption of the TVA. He Who Remains is not interested in remaining anymore. Like, that's the most important thing to recognize, is he's trying to disrupt what he built. He's just trying to figure out the most interesting way to do it. And yes, giving, the opportunity to both Loki and Sylvie to take over, I think that was a feint. If they had picked that one, he would have killed one of them. Like he would have taken one out and been like, that's not really what's going to happen. Yeah. Because it would have instigated them to kill him, which is ultimately what is supposed to happen. Because he's like, no, I've kept this safe for this long and I'm tired. I want to do something else. And a person like him, what does he want to do? A little bit of mischief. Because as he said, we're all villains, right? And so what better way to use Renslayer than to really push and make the one true Kang, the one that actually comes up and has this significant help that will put them above all the other Kangs. I think that's exactly what they did. So y'all, we on point right here. I do have a question though, before we move on. With the idea of the multiverse, what do you guys think is the possibility that one of the next 2 movies from Marvel Studios is actually taking place not in the general MCU, but a different one, a la Eternals? I think Spider-Man might be the one because of the way that they kind of ended that. I think that might be.
Oh, when he came back at the end and saw J. Jonah Jameson, and somehow he had gone through, like Loki did at the end of this episode when they're like, "Who are you?" and all that, and he didn't realize. Yeah.
See, I think it's Eternals, which explains why they haven't been around.
Oh God, those dudes are garbage. I'm already like, those dudes are garbage.
I don't know why everyone keeps ignoring the fact that What If is coming up, because that's like they're showing you the multiverse in an animated form. Everyone's just dismissing it like, oh, it's just a bunch of cartoons. I keep going, this is important. That's purposely
What Ifs are great.
Planned out there, right, to fall in after Loki. Nothing's random with these things. It's like, no,
not anymore.
We didn't do live action because it's expensive and it takes too long, but this is the multiverse, but it's animated. Look at this. There's Captain Carter over here, and there's T'Challa with the Guardians of the Galaxy over there. It's like all this is there, and everyone's like, oh, it's a cartoon. I go, no, you got to watch it just like we watch all this stuff, man. This is important. It's important. There's going to be a test at the end of this. You're going to get graded. You're going to get a degree in Marvelology, man.
It kind of reminds me, did anybody watch the like Marvel, the MCU disc that came with the big Infinity War box set, where they had all the like the kind of what if things, and one of the what if things was like, what if like when Nick Fury came out, he was like talking about mutants and stuff, and they had actually shot some of this stuff, or like Captain Marvel showing up earlier in the MCU. So it kind of reminds me of like stuff that they were like, there's probably like a whole like vault of this stuff somewhere.
Right.
But it's all like weird things that they tried out and they thought, maybe we're not going to do this now. Like, I think it's going to give us a little bit more perspective into it, and maybe ideas that they didn't like fully flesh out. Because it used to be like there's like different in the comics, there's different tiers. Like you can do like a one shot and kind of like a what if, or you can like keep it in the main timeline, or you can do it in a different Earth, because Earth 616, I think, is the main one.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like they can do it on different Earths. So we're going to get the same thing in the shows. So you can basically do whatever you want, essentially, not have to be beholden to the top, to the big overarching sort of MCU sort of demigods. Because I know that turns away a lot of creatives in the in like director wise and stuff.
Well, the only reason why, going back to the Eternals, is that they show in the trailer, they go, well, now that Captain Rogers and Iron Man are gone, who's going to lead them? So you know it's part of the
No. Think about it like this. If most of Eternals takes place in another multiverse, and something happens to them, and now they're brought into this one, and they're fully aware of what has happened now. And so they're having that conversation like, well, now that these guys don't have Avengers, maybe we should be more active, because that's, you know, this is now a world that we're a part of. We should be helping them. I think Eternals is definitely going to be the thing that kind of switches gears, because I think part of the rationale for it is Black Widow made us look backwards in time in the same MC universe. And I think that was a feint. It was to give us this idea that everything that we're going to see moving forward is all going to take place in the same universe, but Eternals is going to be the one that just switches gears completely and does it.
Is Shang-Chi post Snap or Endgame? Did they tell us yet?
I don't know if they've said. I don't know if they've said.
Because you had a 5-year gap between, and so I'm like, it could have happened then. I mean, 5 years is a long time, you know?
Right. And also with Renslayer, if she was in school in 2018, the Snap was supposed to happen in spring of 2018. So what does that mean with her characterization?
Victor's done his homework, man.
I mean, I'm just saying, we nerd good around here.
Widow, I was doing the math too when they said the years, and they said, 20-some years later. I was like, wait a second, that takes place here, and then the Avengers, 2023 is when they all came back in Endgame. So you're like, okay, they do dates for a reason. There's a reason why they're doing this thing.
Yeah, this definitely is going to connect well to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Has anyone ever figured out why on Spider-Man it said 8 years after the Battle of New York and it never added up right? Because I'm like, wait a second.
Yes.
How could that be? What?
It is a mistake from the Sony Marvel crossover. That was that was not a specific rule set up by Marvel. It was something that Sony did, and that was a mistake because it's
all right. Because that always bugged me. I'm like,
it's
it was not 8 years. It was 6 years. What are they talking about?
Yeah, it's not right.
Now math is hard. Math is hard.
It's not hard to go back and digitally change the date on the copy, man.
Maybe it shows up on Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say when the Sony would show up on there, you'll see.
Yeah, it'll be fixed. Yeah.
Okay, I see what y'all did.
Hey, did anybody notice that Jonathan Majors did the voice of the?
When he that in
episode 4,
yeah,
when they went to go see those robots, he was the. I was like, oh wow, they were setting this up for a while. I did not know he was going to show up in Loki. I really thought it was Ant-Man. I was like, wow.
There was a thing where apparently like somebody asked him and he was like cagey about it or something like that. Yeah. And I think he put on. I loved his performance in this. I didn't think it was too crazy. I thought it was like, he made my skin crawl at a couple points. Like he really did. Like the way he was like jumping on his like desk. Like this is me right after COVID. That's what I was thinking. But like
it's unsettling.
Yeah.
And creepy in a good way. He's kooky but creaky at the same time. Like he's being silly, but I'm like, there's an underlying threat under it that makes me still like, I'm very scared right now because you're telling me a lot of things and I don't know what to believe.
I got major
pun intended
Major pun intended, yes. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just
Oh no.
very it was
he's
very
also-
speechy. It was very
Well, we had a lot to cover.
riddly and
Yeah.
you know,
I don't think we
playing
were
cat and
riddling.
mouse with them.
I think he was
and-
like 100% upfront with the story, but I do think the one thing that he wasn't upfront with was that he was trying to get Sylvie to kill him. Like, I think that was the intended thing.
Oh, he's baiting
I mean,
her?
I'm
Yeah.
not.
I
I mean,
think
whatever
was
his end game
exposition
was,
for
was
us
end
to
game.
meet
I just the
Kang.
performance for me was just like it was. Jonathan Majors is a really great actor,
Yeah.
and I thought it was an interesting take for him to take it. But my immediate reaction was that's Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, like making jokes about grandma's peach tea and peeing in a thing, and it was just he's jumping around, he's eating an apple, and I was like. Oh, okay. I mean, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I see what you're doing. Again, some people didn't particularly find Jesse Eisenberg's performance creepy. They just thought it was annoying. But I think Jonathan Majors had at least some of that fear factor because of what he was saying. I guess what helped him was the dialogue of what he had to say.
He was in front of two gods and he wasn't scared at all.
I
Like,
mean,
he was just like,
they weren't really gods, they were prisoners. Like, that's different.
I mean, but when you can make gods prisoners, what do you have to be scared of?
What are you to be scared of? They were no threat to him. They were pawns from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
which is what he told him. I paved the way. You marched.
Yeah, did you like how he used the 3D models to explain his story?
I know he was like
cool.
slicking like some goo from like
No,
flubber
that was
over
like
there.
in the beginning of Black Panther.
well,
when
that
they
was
were
his
telling
time
them
or whatever.
Wakanda, they had that same effect. I go, hey, they must
was
have
cool.
had, like leftover. Like, let's use
Yeah,
that
in the
again.
future,
That
they're
was
using
cool.
Wakanda tech, not just Stark tech. Wakanda tech.
Wakanda tech.
Of course.
It's a visual aid there.
Yes,
If
that
you're
was
paying attention.
very
that.
cool.
I
Very,
love
very
it.
cool.
I think definitely the idea of his threat to them was really well played because it was subtle. I am a person. That's number one, right? But I'm a person that is so far ahead of you. You can't hurt me, but you are not fully aware of what I can do to you. And that is the problem. I am explaining to you things, but I have not told you absolutely what I could do to you. And that's the thing that I think Loki definitely clocked, and Sylvie was just a little too focused to pay attention. If she had backed off of her own revenge structure, she would have seen that Loki, at the very least, was playing the long game. He's that guy that says, hey, yeah, no, I'll go along with your plan. And then when the time is right, I'm going to stab you in the back and I'm going to take over. But Sylvie just could not.
Times.
I mean, and it's funnier every single time I do it. But no, like Sylvie just could not do it. And that was the thing that he wanted to try to get her to understand is like, okay, the devil you know is always better than the devil you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we find out about this new devil? Let's play and find out about this other things, and maybe we can figure out a way to stop that. But she was just like, no, kill, death. And he's like,
but that's because she's always been alone. And the difference between Sylvie and Loki is even though Loki was taken out of his timeline a little bit early, he still had good memories with Thor, with Odin, with Frigga, and with the people he was dating or messing around with at the time. Like, he still had some traits of being able to understand, like, some things aren't about me, but she's been alone this entire time.
Before we got the kiss, though.
Yeah, but her whole world has always been just about herself and her revenge. So how can she even consider a long game or anyone else's emotions or how things affect them if she's had to live her life alone the entire time?
To that point, did Sylvie ever say that she had a Thor?
She never said a Thor.
No.
She might have literally been alone forever.
She wasn't adopted. No, wait, was she adopted?
Yeah, she was definitely adopted.
But she never mentioned the door.
Yeah, so maybe that was her event, is that there was no Thor. She was always going to get Asgard, and that was going to be a problem. Ooh.
Okay.
Yali, I think you might have just opened a can. Okay.
Opening multiverses.
Yeah.
I think the female Thor is going to be from a multiverse.
Oh,
it's not what I would have written, but it's cool.
No, I would have ended this whole thing with all this, the universe just shrinking. It's a little tiny piece of dust floating around like Horton Hears a Who, and it lands on Galactus's finger, and he goes, and he just blows it off, and then there's this massive Galactus, and you're like, oh shit, now it's getting real. Now it's getting real, and all this we're all arguing about is this one little insignificant
Oh, I love it. I love it.
That's the universe.
Perfect.
I love it.
Perfect.
That's why it's an Ant-Man, because Ant-Man's gonna go into the
little tiny dust,
little tiny universe that's a little like the microverse, like the Micronauts or something.
This might be the first Ant-Man movie.
Psycho.
Oh, if they do Psycho Man, I will.
They've done everything else now. I sit there and go, Pace Pop Pete shows up. I go, we're done. They've done everybody, man. I mean, come on.
That's a little too far. Okay,
well,
no Pace Pop.
I mean,
no, let's not do Pace
they're
Pop.
reaching.
Come
they're
on.
reaching.
Yeah, that's when you're like, come on, guys. Come on.
Not run out of ideas. The Impossible Man's going to show up. That's what I'm hoping.
That would be wild. That would be wild. Yeah.
You want more Howard the Duck?
Yeah.
Well,
he's already there. So.
Well, I want more of it.
I want
more. Man thing. I want the Nexus of Realities to show up. I want that thing. I want the Man Wolf. I want all that stuff.
Nice.
They've run out of it.
We've got 15 minutes left in this shindig. So what is everybody's thoughts on this ending? Was it the ending you hoped for? And what do you think is going to happen next? Let's start with Rachel.
I think it was satisfying in a sense, but not like the ending I was looking for, like, but being that the last, it was climactic in a sense, but like, again, with the
it wasn't definitive like these other shows, which I felt was cheated. I felt was a little bit of cheated too.
Like, oh, I'm excited to watch like season 2, but I just like, I'm like, I wish there would have been a little more to like end that on, because I'm like, I feel like satisfied, but like there was like just something missing from that. I don't know if it needed to be more action packed or like just to tease like a little bit more at the end, but it was just it did what it needed to do to end the series and get people like come back for season 2, and then we'll explain our madness because we know you're going to come back and watch a season 2.
That's fair.
I was
Mr.
hoping
Victor?
for my jet ski scene with Owen Wilson and Loki hugging each other, riding off into the sunset. It's still
with Crokey riding in the back.
Oh no! He who remains. If he put his feet up on the desk and he had like leather alligator boots, you know what I'm saying, made out of.
Okay, Mitch, you're a monster. Mitch, that's messed up. That's messed up, man.
No, man.
Anybody seen the
that
comic?
Really, really evil. I mean, like, what happened to the other Lokis? Oh no, he used a pair of boots, man.
Oh no.
Little gold buckles with the little hand. Yeah.
Little horns at the end. Yeah.
That hurts me. I got so excited. I went right out and bought some like actual comic booky goodness.
Oh wow.
Once in Future Kang.
That's a real book.
Yeah. I had to go grab that goodness. This episode ended in a way that was very satisfying for me, because I am always trying to look forward to the next big question. And I actually appreciated not getting an answer, because I feel like it sets up more anticipation for the movies to come. But in the right way. Like there could be an annoying side of it. I fully recognize that for a lot of people, and maybe it's the writer in me that's just like, oh, but it could be, and that stuff is exciting for me. It's not necessarily the definitive answer, but always the questions that drive me. So that, to me, it tickled my writer bone, and it was wonderful in that way. I enjoyed everybody. Jonathan Majors killed it. I mean, he stole the show, because I was actually kind of lukewarm on the series as a whole in comparison to WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. But this ending, I was like, that's what I needed right there. And it made up the entire show for me and has me eager for the future. No pressure.
Well, I wasn't totally satisfied with the ending. I think that I really believe that it, even if they didn't answer every question that I would have wanted answered, I still think it deserved another episode, just to give us, I guess, more interaction with Kang besides the talking and the, being fat, like, projecting back and forth, teleporting, and also get to see how this we got a little bit of it of what's happening with the TVA.
Yeah,
like,
Loki
right
shows
at the
up.
end, I would have liked to have seen maybe just more of that. Maybe the hunters recognizing their own names or something like that, like realizing that they're not a number or something.
Now, were we in a different timeline? Because when Loki goes back to the
at that
TVA,
point it was a different timeline.
where
everything was all
we
a
can see
jumble.
Kang in the background in the statue, and Mobius doesn't know who he is.
Yeah,
Right.
so
That made me sad.
No, I would have liked just. I mean, but the only good thing I can take away from doing a second season is like we get to do this again because there's a season 2. It's like, oh, I get to hang out with you guys over time.
Croaky episode.
Yeah,
well, Mitch can't come because he wants to kill Croaky. So
you know,
he's too cute to kill.
Yeah,
Croaky will grow back.
Croaky's not big enough for shoes. It'd have to just be a belt.
Maybe a belt.
Okay, so now you're not invited.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't want that to happen. But
hey, it could happen, you know.
Here's a deep cut. Does anybody remember that Garfield made for TV show, Garfield's 9 Lives? What if they made one for Loki and we got like an episode where it was all the different Loki's lives and one of them was like Loki just sitting in the
That'd be cool. I'd watch that. Why not? Yep. Coming next to Disney Plus. Well, here's a quick question for you. Do you think these shows are getting new fans to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or it's getting so deep?
They're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, no one's gonna just join. No one's gonna get Disney Plus and turn on. Oh, let me watch this Loki show, and I'm hooked. You wouldn't know what the hell's going on.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I think
like you think about just the opening to Loki, you have to have watched Thor, Avengers, all the way through to Endgame just to get back to that's
is that a bad thing though? I mean, eventually, I know we all say every time there's a new Marvel movie, I always hear, I think this one's going to be the one that stumbles. It's going to be it's going to be Shang-Chi. No, it's going to be everyone's waiting for that strikeout. I don't know why. It
was Age of Ultron. It was Age of Ultron.
Well, yeah. Here's the test. When it's on TV and you go clicking through the channels and you go, oh yeah, that's not. And you'll go, but if it's like Winter Soldier, oh no, I'm watching.
I'm watching that.
Yeah, everything, Doctor Strange, every one of them. But if I see Age of Ultron, I go,
I always stop for Age of Ultron.
Whedon's apologized for Age of Ultron.
About this.
He's a horrible person, so he needs to apologize for a lot more than just Age of Ultron.
This was before like
for his list of things to apologize for. Age of Ultron
at the bottom.
Yeah. Right.
It's on the list, but it's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom. There's only one thing that bugged me in this whole Loki show is when he used the Force to stop that tower thing from falling. I go, look, dude, I've been reading comics for 50 years, 5 decades. Loki does not have telekinesis. He can't do that because if he could, why wasn't he using it all along? Like, oh, I need to get the soul gem or whatever.
Right.
You know, he can't do that.
Wait, I dropped the scepter? Psych.
No, that's right. Yeah. Oh, they're trying to get it. Yeah, but suddenly it's like, oh, watch this, and it just stopped. I'm like, no.
Maybe he's a Palpatine, and we just don't know it.
I don't know. That was
Loki Palpatine.
That was out of character.
Palpatines.
No, at the end of the show when they said, "Who are you?" He
Loki
looks right
Skywalker.
At camera, he says, "Loki Skywalker." I saw that coming. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I want to know: does anyone think that if Chris Evans is still around for films, will they make him be Human Torch and Captain America?
That'd be cool
in these multiverse, and he just have to be like, "You are a handsome guy. Let me see your ass."
That's America's ass.
What if his character from Scott Pilgrim comes in there too? Add another layer.
That would be amazing.
It's crazier.
That would be amazing.
They had a picture of all those folks going up on that spaceship tomorrow from Amazon. You know, Jeff, whatever his name is, and then the older woman and the young teenage kid. And I put on Twitter, I go, man, they got to stop with these Fantastic Four reboots. They're getting worse and worse with each movie. Man, that lit up. I was like, wow, I did a funny one.
But they could do that too. Because Michael B. Jordan was the Human Torch, but then he was Killmonger. So then the two of them are like,
there you go.
Exactly.
Who are you?
Exactly.
See?
I don't know, but we all look hot right now.
I still think Killmonger's gonna be the next Black Panther. Like I really do.
Well, if you're doing all these multiverses and stuff,
I mean, he could
rectify it. Like, oh well, here's what happened. T'Challa was the bad guy in that universe, and Killmonger was the hero. He got, he drank.
I really do hope they make Shuri, but like I see them as possibly bringing because Michael B. Jordan's gonna be back. So
yeah.
I wrote a quick fan piece, if I can say it real quick fast, that if I could have written this for Marvel, I absolutely would have. At the end of Black Panther, the after credit scene would have been Killmonger wakes up, right? And when he does, he's like, wait, what is this? What's happening? He's wet though, right? He's laying in this bed. It's opulent, looks gorgeous, but it's made out of coral and all kinds of craziness.
Oh no.
And so like he's standing there trying to figure out like where he is, and all of a sudden some bioluminescent things start to light up, and in walks Namor and goes, what is this Wakanda thing?
Right.
Yeah. And that's how it stops.
Whoa, you know why? You're right. He buried me at sea like my ancestors. They buried him at sea. And Namor's like, hey, I just threw this guy in an ice cube into the water once.
Y'all related?
Around finding
is this
bodies,
a thing?
you know?
Is this a thing? Is this y'all? Yeah.
Right? That's genius right there. Because
Thank you.
Agent Ross, he was like half dead.
Right.
So he brought him back. Like
exactly.
Olsen, they brought Olsen back.
They definitely. Well, the thing is with the heart-shaped herb, if you get buried, like no matter how it is, you are healed. They do it twice in Black Panther, right? T'Challa when he they do it to him twice, right? Because like after he fights
when he went in the river,
M'Baku, right? After he fights M'Baku,
he wasn't dead.
No, but he was hurt. He was hurt.
He was hurt.
But once he comes out, he's totally healed. Like there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
And then after he loses to Killmonger, same thing. So if you have the heart-shaped herb, which Killmonger did, if you get buried, and they did it with dirt and they did it with snow, so why not water? There you go.
Water got sand. So
I just want more Michael B. Jordan one-liners, Killmonger one-liners. Those were like the best in that movie.
He played the ultimate fuckboy in that shit. He killed his girlfriend right at the rip. Bap. All right, let's go. I was like, damn.
I mean, listen. She was messing up. She wasn't supposed to get caught. How you gonna get caught by Claws? A dude with one arm. Are you serious right now?
Claws mixtape though. We never got his mixtape.
That is definitely a bit of merchandise that Disney missed out on, because I would definitely be bumping that right now. Right now.
That would be the intro.
Please believe. Please believe.
That was like the one thing they regret in that is killing him off, because he was amazing in that. Like he was just like everything he said was just like.
Well, you needed him for the Secret Wars. You know, if they ever make that movie, The Secret War, you need to have Claw because they just had his head.
You said Yali's favorite word, Secret Wars.
No, because honestly, if they do Galactus, what's the
Mm-hmm.
next? What could you do beyond that? Oh well, we'll have to do the
Beyonder,
the Beyonder, and then you know, I'm gonna be like 60 years old. I'm just gonna keep going and going and going and going. Like the next one's gonna be bad. I'm telling you, Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy. That's gonna be the worst Marvel movie.
Watch it still be dope though.
$200 billion. Wait, what did I know? You know, I'm sorry, Moon Girl.
Moon Girl.
I thought it was the Jack Kirby. Wasn't it Moon?
It was Moon Boy for Jack.
Yeah, but now it's Moon Girl.
Well, back
and she's an Inhuman
because I'm old.
Yeah.
I love her.
In the 70s, it was Moon Boy.
Love her.
We love her.
That's all I'm saying. It's gonna be dope.
I would love to see that though. Like even if
it's gonna be a cartoon. It's gonna be a cartoon.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. Yeah.
It's gonna be a cartoon.
That would be so cute.
So I'm assuming we're all in for season 2 at this point.
I'll be back.
I'm on the no, I'm playing.
I'll be hating. I'm gonna be back, but I'm gonna be hating.
We'll see.
First episode, I'm calling it. Something's gonna happen. Y'all's gonna be like, that was amazing. Okay. I'm calling it. The demeanor, the facade is gonna break, and you be like, yo, I mean, you're gonna try. You be like, I'm gonna hate this. I love it. I'm calling it.
They're gonna do like BJ and the bear, but instead of like a man and an orangutan, it's gonna be Loki and Croaky like riding around.
If that's what it is, I'm good. I'm gonna come in here and sing praises. But if that's not what it is,
don't believe me, just watch.
Riding around on a jet ski through the things of time.
Right? Like the Silver Surfer in space on a jet ski.
Is he the Silver Surfer? He rides a jet ski. What's his name?
Hey, Owen Wilson could be the Silver Surfer. I could see that. He's got that surfer boy thing going on. He's got
that's one character we have to get if we're going to get Galactus.
Yeah.
They've got to kind of figure out how to put that in there.
They should, but I don't know that they will.
Fantastic Four might put him in there because that's on the
But they can use She-Hulk because She-Hulk has a really good relationship with the Fantastic Four, and then that just wraps it all up together. So
true.
Let's just use her.
Because they just announced like the new slate of Marvel films, or like they updated the slate, and Fantastic Four, Blade was on there.
Oh yeah.
Cannot wait.
I actually like the Josh Trank Fantastic Four. I feel like it was a really good first act to a much longer, like, good film. I feel like like they pulled him off that before he got to actually finish the rest of the movie. Because that movie's like, what, 70, 80 minutes or something?
Yeah, it's not even 90 minutes. No, it's not. It's 85 minutes, I think. Yeah. Do you think it's odd that Disney selects certain movies to put on the Disney Plus and not all of them? There's no Ghost Riders. There's no, some of the X-Men pictures aren't on there.
They can't because the second Ghost Rider had Blackheart, and then people are gonna be like,
really?
And then Mephisto, and then people are so obsessed with Mephisto that if you put that on there, people will go, "Is that Mephisto's coming? Because look, his son is in the movie."
It might be the rate. Do you think it might be the ratings? Because I think the Ghost Rider movies were pretty.
The first one.
Yeah, they were rated terribly.
Yeah, well,
the second one was bad.
Yeah,
I think that was rated R. I think.
Yeah, because it was by the guys who did the one with I forget the dude from Fast and Furious.
What?
Lynn?
Yeah, Justin Lin.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, please don't
Don't
besmirch
drag Justin Lin in here.
Yeah.
No.
He wouldn't do that, Justin, would he?
No.
What does the chat say, Dan?
What does the chat say?
What does
it? Crank, that's it. The guys who did the second Ghost Rider did Crank. And
Crank.
All right, now that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jason said, okay.
Dude, the second Crank movie is top tier madness.
Seriously. I mean, it's high. It's high up there. Yeah.
The second Ghost Rider.
No, it's one of those things where like, hey, if you just want to watch something get blowed up good.
Yeah.
I really think like if you ever wonder about Nicolas Cage, like they just let him do whatever the hell he wants in the second one.
Like it was wondering just about Nicolas Cage.
People do.
I interviewed him once. He exceeded expectations. I interviewed him for the Christian movie he made, Left Behind.
That's classic, bro. I've read that whole book series.
So did I. It's a good series. It's a great series.
It is good. It's actually a really good series.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made a movie. What year was that?
They made two. This was actually the reboot because they actually cast Nick Cage as like the main sort of father figure in that. And it was actually pretty decent. But like he showed up like an hour late to the press junket. And he was Nick Cage, and you were just kind of like, yeah, I'm waiting here an hour for Nick Cage. I can do that. So yeah.
He gets a pass. He named his kid Kal-El. I mean, anybody that dedicated,
Facts.
Facts. You have to let it go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess.
So I guess we'll end on that note. Where can we find everybody? We'll start with Victor. Where can we find you at when you're not? Actually, this is our last panel for this.
This is.
For now. Definitely.
Yeah. You guys can find me at Vantage In-House on all forms of social media. I have a Kickstarter right now, VIP Phase 2 and 1. Definitely check it out. We are fully funded. We funded in 6 hours, which I love you guys so very much for that. We just unlocked our second stretch goal. So let's just see how far it goes. If you guys like comics, get some comics, read some comics. I've got some great comics for you. A whole bevy of fun things. So yes, thank you guys so very much for letting me play with you and have these conversations. This was amazing, and I love your faces. I'm gonna miss you guys.
We got renewed for a second season, right, Yali?
I hope.
Yes. Voice of God, are we renewed for a second season? If you're there,
Lord speaketh to me. I need to.
The voice of God says yes.
We get to come back.
What if? There you go.
The voice of God says we can do what if.
He hit us with maybe on a what if. Like that's deep. Like that's meta. That's meta.
We have a meeting tomorrow. We'll bring it up.
God works in mysterious ways.
What if we did what if?
I'm Yali. You guys can find me here on Fandom Spotlight. Stick around for 9 o'clock because I'll be talking about Space Jam 2, hence the Lola Bunny hair. And so I'll be here, Fandom Spotlight, as always, in the social media stuff. So feel free to contact there. And Electro was here for some reason.
Right.
And concerns.
Oh, look at that.
So yeah, and I'm beautifully _Yali on Instagram if you want to follow me on there, but I just post donuts and stuff, so it really is not.
Oh, donuts.
I don't know if that's y'all thing, but yeah,
I'm loves donuts.
Everyone does.
Yeah, but I'm here at Fandom Spotlight, so you guys know where to find me.
So I'm super excited because this is the first time I ever did like a live panel discussion for a show like that. So this is a really fun experience to do this for me, and I had a great time. You guys can catch me here writing different random stuff at Fandom Spotlight. I'm also on Twitter at Bibliophile Life, LYFE. I also wrote a book, so if you have tweens in your life, you can check out this contemporary fiction piece. Great for summer reading. And yeah, I'm always chatting about books and stuff on my book blog, Life of a Female Bibliophile. So you can hit me up on my socials and let's talk about pop culture stuff.
All right. And I'll be making a living next week.
Yes.
Connecticut's Terrific Comic Con at Mohegan Sun, a show at a casino. Okay,
Nice.
You've been to a lot of Comic Cons, but what one has ever been at the second largest casino in North America? None. I'll tell you, there's a lot of Comic Cons. There's only one terrific one.
Damn right.
In the
Get your
name,
tickets now.
okay?
Get your tickets now.
And I'll be there next week with Sean Gunn, Michael Rooker, Ross Marquand, Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor, Klaus Janson, all the people that write all this stuff. They'll all be there. And then in the
Captain Kyle will
Captain
be there.
Kyle will be there, and he'll be running some panels for me as well because I can't be everywhere. And and then I'm on here when I'm not doing shows. I'll come back and do some Fandom Spotlight stuff. But I'm on the Power Cosmic podcast with Jerry Ordway from DC Comics fame every 2 weeks. Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure on YouTube, local radio, everywhere. I need to get a real job. Okay, I'm 55 years old. I've been doing this since I was 5 years old.
They're having
Birthday
fun.
was last week. Yeah. I'm still going.
Happy birthday.
120. Thank you. Can't get enough of this. Now it's on TV every week. You don't understand. I used to have to watch Lou Ferrigno and pretend it was good. I watched that lousy Spider-Man show and didn't notice there was rope coming out of his hand.
Did you ever see the Chinese Web? The one where he was in China?
Yes.
I love that one.
That's not so bad, actually. You know?
I love that one. That one.
As bad as they are, sometimes you go, that clone one was not so bad. It's pretty good. But anyway, yes. And I cannot wait to see what happens to Loki. I don't want to wait to any of this stuff. I want every week. I'm like, come on, man. I got to wait a year. I had to wait 3 years for Star Wars movies when I was a kid. Now it's like, can't wait 6 months for something. Oh, well, that's it. Yeah, I have one. I have a TARDIS in my garage. I have to drive it up there next week. So if you see one on the highway, that's me. Beep the horn.
Love it.
And I am Dan Tabor. You can find me on Rotten Tomatoes or on Twitter. I'm Dan the Fan. And I brought my fan Electro here, which we're going to be seeing in the next Spider-Man movie. Very excited about that. Fun fact about me, I actually did a fan edit of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I'm morbidly obsessed with that movie. Where
can we watch that?
You're the guy.
DM me for a link if you want it. I'll send it to you. Basically, what I did is I got rid of a lot of the stuff and made it just about this weird love story between Electro and Peter Parker, because I really think that's what it's about. Is a man. Electro was obsessed with Peter Parker. He was a very sort of toxic fanboy, and he just wanted to be bros with Spider-Man. And it never happened. And they cut out a lot of really...
I was going to say, did they ever meet each other in the movie? Peter Parker and Electro? They met Spider-Man did, but...
He met Spider-Man.
He met Spider-Man, but like... He wanted to be Spider-Man's friend. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, you were freaking me out. I was like, wait, what scene was that in? I don't know.
It got real dark. Like, hey Peter. Hey, Peter, I think you're smart.
They cut a lot out of it.
While he's sweating, while he's all sweaty.
Right, like
yeah.
You want to come over to my house and do some math with me?
When it goes to my birthday, you can't get an invitation. You cut out the whole Green Goblin stuff.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Genius. Yeah,
great movie.
I'm DMing you because I want to see that.
But thank you all for doing this weird experiment with me. I really enjoyed chatting with you guys every week, and thank you for humoring me. This was my first hosting gig doing this thing for Fandom Spotlight. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to Yali and Kyle for letting me kind of steer this ship straight into the sun and follow your fandom. And thank you all for coming by and doing this every week with me. Y'all give yourself a round of applause for making it through Loki. We made it.
Wasn't hard.